Hey guys, this is Shane from Liberty Under Attack Radio. So I want to do a video tonight, kind of introducing this week's broadcast, and also I want to bring up some important subjects and issues of relevance, because they need to be discussed. So first off, I'd like to let you know where to find the Liberty Under Attack Radio show and when. You can find that every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Freedom Phalanx Radio Network. That website is fprnradio.com. I'd also like to point you to in the direction of all the other broadcasts on that network. A couple of my favorites are Lies Wide Open with Agent Smith and Monograph, and also Disassociation Nation with Niz. Both very good shows. We've all got our different styles of broadcasting and our different subjects of expertise, and that's what makes it interesting. And you know what the best thing about that is? We have our common bond of freedom, and we see all the shit that's going wrong in this nation. It has gone wrong in this nation, and what will go wrong in this nation. We're all very awake, and we may all have our different solutions, if we have solutions at all. For me, I really don't have any solutions. All of mine come from a philosophical view. But nonetheless, we have a common bond of freedom. We all realize that we've been lied to, we've been deceived, and we're going to do what we can to expose those that are lying to us and manipulating us and deceiving us. And we're going to try to instill some truth on our listeners. And that is the common bond of freedom and truth. And I don't think it gets any better than that, quite honestly. So this week's broadcast of Liberty Under Attack Radio will discuss FEMA. FEMA is a very interesting subject, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Everyone should know what they are, especially from Hurricane Katrina. We're going to discuss Mount Weather, which is a FEMA installation that most people don't know even exists, and it's a continuity of government program, which is extremely interesting. An entire government in waiting, unelected. So you wanna learn about that, I assure you. We're gonna be discussing Cheyenne Mountain, which is an Air Force installation in Colorado, and we're gonna be showing you pictures of all of these things. Whether you know about them or not, they've been reported on minorly, not enough at all for the magnitude and the scale of what goes on there. Not near the attention that it should get. Not even close. They're very extremely interesting installations. The preparations they've made, and all of the agencies that are there, and how just in the dark they are. Who knows what they really do there? Because it's never reported upon. We know what Obama's doing. We don't know what these installations are doing. We have no idea. Even if they do press releases on their website, we still don't know because no one looks at it. We still don't know. It's just like with Serco and Sodexo. No one ever looks into these organizations. They don't know what they've done, what they're doing. They don't know what kind of morals and ethics and values they have. Because no one looks at it. No one pays attention to it at all. Same thing with Mount Weather and the Cheyenne Mountain installation. We don't know what goes on there, so we're going to do what we can to find out. Because it is definitely important. And when you look at the reasons for the creations of these installations, and you look at some of the secrecy that they have had, it's definitely quite alarming, to say the least. We're going to be discussing the planned police state. And yes, I said planned police state, because it was planned. For this segment, Matt's got some good material that we're going to touch on. And also I'm going to be reading from Bill Cooper's book, Behold a Pale Horse. There's a couple of really good articles, a couple of really good reports in there. Dr. Pabst does a really good one. It's Pabst. Dr. Pabst does a really good one on the FEMA camps and also the planned police state. These are all mechanisms that will enable them to do what they need to say the least. We have these mechanisms in place, such as the executive orders, the FEMA executive orders, national security decision directives, and national security memos, which subvert any constitutionality that there wasn't any, but nonetheless, they subvert that in its entirety. FEMA executive orders are reported. National security decision directives and national security memos are not reported to the public. They are not. I'm going to be reading from a couple of those. One of those stems from Reagan's Iran-Contra scandal. And that is I don't know if it's still classified, but when Bill Cooper wrote his book, it was classified. I'm guessing it's probably still classified, but that's just my personal thoughts. But yeah, the national security decision directives and national security memos do not have to be reported to the public. We have no idea what is in those. We don't. And you've got to remember that this is all legal. It's all legal. It may not be moral or just. It's not moral and just 99.9% of the time. But everything Hitler did was legal. It was legal. But again, legal does not always mean moral or just. And the majority of the time when it's legal, it is against the people. The Uniform Commercial Code is legal. All of these regulations and statutes are legal. But God damn it, if you try to open up a lemonade stand without a permit, they're going to come down on your ass. We're also going to discuss our thoughts and opinions based off of these subjects. These installations, such as Cheyenne Mountain and Mount Weather, are pretty much civil defense doomsday sites, quite frankly. Cheyenne Mountain is built to withstand a nuclear attack. In my personal opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. But either way, it's built for that. We're going to give you our thoughts and opinions on what we think could be the apocalyptic end that most focus on quite heavily. What's going to be the end of man? It's going to be a nuclear war? What is it going to be? We're going to give you our thoughts and opinions on that. And we don't think it's going to be a nuclear war. It's too messy. Quite a lot of people do think it's going to be a nuclear war. So we're going to give our thoughts and opinions, and we're going to open up the floor to anyone else with varying thoughts, the same thoughts. It doesn't matter. We're going to open it up, and we're going to let you say what you think is a plausible theory. Quite frankly. Another thing I want to touch on is, a lot of this stuff may seem like conspiracy, because it is. But it's definitely a bad thing to look down on people for believing in a conspiracy. It's definitely a bad thing. Because all throughout history, since man has been on this planet, there have been conspiracies. There have been people trying to get ahead. There have been people trying to control things. All the way from just controlling, say, the food market in their area. That'd be a conspiracy against the other people who own food markets. There have been conspiracies to control the economic system. The Knights Templar did that. They pretty much built our modern economic system. The fractional reserve requirement system. They mastered that. The only difference between now and then is when they did it and there was a banker bailout, they would be hung at the stake. Today, we just give them more money through bailouts. Really shows you the state of things that we're in right now, doesn't it? Really does. And it's definitely not a good thing. It definitely shows that people are a lot more complacent than we have been in the past. We put up with a lot more than we should, and we are a lot more ignorant to the actions of these folks. We know banker friends, so therefore we think all bankers are good. We know some police friends, therefore we think, I know him. He's a good guy. He's got a family, and he would never hurt anybody else. So he's got to be a good guy. We've got we're very complacent in the way we think about things. We are. Obviously, not everyone is bad. Not every banker is bad. Not every cop is bad. But when you think about it, every banker is trying to make money off of everyone else. They live in a creditor system. They're trying to make their money off of other people being in debt. Think about police officers today. Not all of them are killers. I'll be the first one to tell you they aren't all killers, but I'll tell you what they do. They enforce the corporate regulations and statutes. The current government we have in place is a corporation. It is. I've explained that in one of my videos, and it'll be discussed in depth on a future broadcast. But our government is a corporation, and we don't have a president. We have a chief executive officer. As Alan West so nonchalantly explained in one of his interviews on Fox News. That didn't matter. It never does. Anything important that's said on the news just swept under the rug. Then all the bullshit, all of the lies, the deception, the manipulation, it's all broadcasted for the world to see. And that's quite sad if you ask me. When they say things that are truth, which is hardly ever, no one even mentions it ever again. No one ever mentions it. Alan West admitted that Obama was the chief executive officer of the United States Corporation. That was probably the first time Fox News ever told the truth. But it didn't matter. It didn't. It made no difference whatsoever if he said it or not. Well, it does, because now I can post that video. It only backs up all the truths that I've found out in my research. But to the majority of the people, they don't even know that it happened. Those who watched it live didn't think twice about it. They thought he was probably just being rhetorical, or if he's being allegorical, whatever word you want to use. They thought he was, he's just making fun of Obama. What a funny guy. What a good guy. Alan West for president 2016. It's probably what most of them thought if they saw it live. Sadly. But guys, we've got to for those of you that are unawakened at this point, you've got to open your eyes. I used to be really harsh on people that weren't awake, but I know that doesn't work for most people. You've got to open your eyes. You've got to look at the things that have gone on. You've got to look at the fact that every executive order that a Republican has passed, a Democrat has not repealed that. You've got to look at the fact that regardless of whether it's a Republican or Democrat, we're losing our freedoms. We're losing our rights. You never see any of that repealed by the opposing party. Reason being, they're both controlled by the same people. They're both on the same team pushing the same agenda. The differences between these parties are they're an illusion. The only difference is that there really are. The Republicans believe in pro-choice and against gay marriage, and Democrats are for abortion and for gay marriage. That's the only difference when you think about it. We've had Republicans and Democrats, but we've only not been in war for 22 years of this nation's history. The entire nation's history. You've got to realize that. You've got to realize that voting does not matter. And I'm not anti-American or un-American for saying that. It doesn't. They're both controlled by the same people. The Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberg Group. They're all the same people. On both sides. You've got to realize this. Because if you don't, it's not just going to be you that suffers. It's going to be your children, and your grandchildren, and your children's grandchildren. Oh, it will. It'll be a lot worse than it is now. I can assure you of that. It only gets worse. It only gets worse. You've got to start waking up. It's right in front of your face. It is. Put aside all of your prejudices, all of your racism, all of whatever it may be. Just start living in reality. Just start seeing things for what they are. Because once you start to do that, things will start to make a lot of sense. You'll start to connect some dots that you wouldn't have ever seen before. You'll start to realize that the way these landscape painters, in the words of Gary Allen, I'm not going to call it a conspiracy, these landscape painters have it painted in such a way where right seems wrong, wrong seems right. Whatever they want to paint on their canvas, whatever they want to paint in the mainstream media canvas, people will eat it up every single time. They will. They will. For those that are watching this that are awakened, thank you. I used to think I'm alone, but I'm not. I know I'm not alone. I thank you for your vigilance and research, even though some of these unawakened folks can be very, very hostile and very ignoring of the documentation and research that you post. They ignore it completely and then attack your life. I do apologize. I will say sorry for them. It's truly sad that in the age of deception, truth is treason. To quote George Orwell, not verbatim, but close enough. For those of us that are speaking truth, we lose most, if not all of our friends. Some of our family members don't treat us the same way that they did before. But it's the way it is. It is. And I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life because I know I'm on the right side of history. And I know my father and my family is, at least my mom and my dad and my brother are behind me. They support me. That's all I really care about. If I lose some relationships along the way, then so be it. Just as Bill Cooper discussed in one of his very powerful videos on YouTube where he discusses, you want to know who's your true friend? Start speaking the truth. And that is the truth. I've experienced it. Many others have. They think they're alone. Everyone thinks they're crazy. But the person who's really crazy is the one that can small talk when all this shit's going on. This isn't. I mean, the average term of conspiracy theory, it's gone. 2 broadcasts ago, I read to you John F. Kennedy's words himself, and he backed world law. He backed the total disarmament of all peoples of the world. I read his own words to you. If you don't believe it, you can watch him say it his damn self. It doesn't matter because that's not the illusion that you live in. It doesn't matter if he said it. He was a hero. He stood up for the people. Bullshit. Bullshit. He called sovereignty bitter. American sovereignty is bitter. We should give into this world system of world law, of total disarmament with the United Nations at the head of it. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. This is John F. Kennedy, the only president that ever stood up for the people, calling for the United Nations to take over control of everything. Disarming the peoples of the entire world. World law. Everything the Charter has ever stood to be, ever stands to be. If he was the only president that stood up for the people, imagine what the fuck the other ones have done. Just imagine. Just imagine the Bush family themselves. That's all you need to imagine. If John F. Kennedy is against America, you've got to believe the rest of them are too. You've got to know that. And anyone else coming out now is worse than before. Rand Paul and Ted Cruz ain't going to save you. I promise you. The only thing that's going to save you is seeking the truth. Stepping up yourself in the face of ridicule. In the face of hostility against you. In the face of feeling alone at times. You've got to step up. You just know you're on the right side of history. At least you can say that whenever the country is so far worse off than it is now. At least you can tell your kids, I did everything that I possibly could, and I'm really sorry for what you're in. I did everything that I possibly could. That's a lot better than, I thought these people were crazy, but they were actually right. I didn't do anything. I helped contribute to the system that you're living in today. You know which one's worse than the other? The one where you have to tell your kids, I'm sorry for what you're living in. It's partially my fault. It's a lot worse, if you ask me. And I'm not your typical 22-year-old college student. I should be out getting drunk on spring break. I should be out in Florida just partying. It's all materialistic bullshit. So having a good time and unwinding is a good thing. Of course it is. I have to do it at times myself. But just the illusions that these people live in, man. College itself is almost worthless right now. Almost worthless. It is. I guess the moral of the story is if you aren't awake at this point, you've got to figure it out. Those that are awake, we're doing all that we possibly can. Not only are we spending our time doing this, I've spent a lot of money on this, personal money. I'm not complaining about that. It's what I want to spend my money on. Vote with your dollars. When I vote with my dollars, I vote for promoting truth and freedom. That's what I vote with. My dollars. I support those promoting truth and liberty. You've got to start. I guess we all have to start. Attempting to better ourselves. We have to try to reduce the human downfalls that we have been accustomed to, that we have fallen prey to, such as greed and lust and all of those things. We've got to get those under control. We've got to stop getting ahead of each other, because we're not really getting ahead. It's only an illusion. You go for more money, you only get more fiat currency. It's not getting ahead. It's not, and we have to stop that. We have to stop trying to getting ahead of other human beings. Obviously, being driven and confident is a great thing. It is, but you've got to remember that you're a human being. You may be the richest person in the world, most powerful person in the world, but you're the same thing as that homeless person that's sleeping on a bench. You both are human beings. That's what this all comes down to, quite frankly. We're all human beings, and we all deserve freedom. We all deserve to have an equal shot at happiness and fortune. it's not a bad thing to have money. It's not. At all. But it's what you do with it. It's what you don't let it turn you into. That's what matters. That is what matters. We're coming up upon 25 minutes, and I think that's probably long enough. So I will conclude this now. There's one thing that you took into your daily lives every single day. It would be this. And it's a quote from Bill Cooper. Read everything. Listen to everyone. Believe nothing unless you can substantiate it in your own research. Don't believe me. Please don't believe me. Don't. Don't believe Alex Jones. Don't believe anybody. Don't believe your favorite news host. Substantiate it in your own research. Because we live in an age of deception. We do. We do. And by that I don't mean I'm trying to deceive you. I'm not. The only thing that matters in my broadcast is truth. And freedom cannot exist without truth. But please, don't believe me. Make it a lifestyle. When someone tells you something, you go research it first before you believe them. That's what it comes down to. That is what it comes down to. So make sure to check out Liberty Under Attack Radio on the Freedom Phalanx Radio Network, fprnradio.com, every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, hopefully expanding into another couple hours here shortly. But that will be determined, and I will let you guys all know about that when it does happen. Other than that, check out libertyunderattack.com. Lots of good information. And Matt also has his first series on the website called The Terror Industrial Complex and You. And there are some great questions, some great answers, and also more documentation than you'll know what to do with. And that is what we are all about. If we're going to say something, we're going to document it. We're going to make sure you can come to the same conclusion. And if you don't, make sure you come to us and let us know and provide documentation to back your side up. We will listen. Because the only thing that matters on this broadcast, on this network, is truth. So thank you guys all for watching if you're still here. It was really great to rattle off, vent, whatever you want to call it. It was really great to get some of that out because it's been bottled up inside me for a while. So sure check out libertyunderattack.com and listen to our show because this next broadcast on FEMA, Mount Weather, these civil defense, domestic hideaways, whatever you want to call them. It's extremely interesting. And we're going to provide some documentation and also some dialogue, opinion, commentary along with it. And you don't want to miss it, I assure you. So, thanks for watching. I'm Shane, host of Liberty Under Attack Radio. We'll see you guys again next time.